Hi, my name is Darren from HJ.tax, and we're the team that seeks to demystify that sometimes confusing world of international tax. And today we want to approach it a bit differently. Rather than just get into a really deep technical discussion about some tax topics, I want to recognize that the tax tail doesn't necessarily wag the dog. And we have the honor and the privilege of having a conversation with David. And David has a lot of expertise with working with business owners who are doing things internationally. David, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is David Deaton. I'm a co-founder with my colleague Ann Thompson, and we have started MindSalt 8 more years ago. Over the last 30 years, I've been working with organizations on the research and decision making and strategy within a variety of different contexts and sizes. So both internationally, for which I have some experience in, but then also in just a variety of sizes of organizations as well. $3 billion revenue organizations down to our local businesses, for which we have a lot of passion and heart for.
Okay, fantastic. How do we prepare for uncertainty? Is it possible to prepare for uncertainty?
At some level, no, of course.
Yeah.
But actually, I think there are things that businesses can do, and as we think about preparing for uncertainty, of course, there's the things I just mentioned around knowing your values, understanding what makes you unique, and having a framework or having a sense of how to be nimble, and that obviously you can start to prepare for because it's things that may or may not be in the organization right now. I think putting it perhaps in more pragmatic terms about how do we prepare for it, I would first start with how do we get out there and collaborate and dialogue. It's if we're in an uncertain environment, the more individuals, the more businesses that you can touch base with, the better. It's not just about understanding clients and markets. It's about talking to your vendors. It's about talking to your employees. It's about talking to a wide lens of whom are our stakeholders and how are we keeping an active rapport with them so that we can understand it. There are tacits of information that they know that without sort of an ability in mass to sort of be constantly in front of that, change will occur and we'll miss it. And when we don't have necessarily the ability to process it quickly, we have to sort of have it already in us because we can't just go out there and get it. We spend a lot of time with organizations helping them. I think it can be daunting. I'll loosely use the word, research. It can be really daunting to say, oh, we want to do all this big research. Sure,
Mhm.
but it's also about doing the small research. Like, what are you doing to be a learning organization right now? How are you bringing that into focus? We've sat down at customer service centers and really gotten into the DNA of what they're hearing and what the feedback is from the clients. We've sat down with individuals in different markets across the world and just talked to them. And we've talked with vendors and told them about the things that are going on. And so that sometimes can be something that can be really helpful for organizations to work with us on because they're not quite as adept about being a learning organization, a gathering organization, and what to do with it. I do think that's a really important part. I just encourage everybody to kind of get out there and really be talking. The other thing that we see is that as organizations and situation is changing, that there's really a sort of a loss of, and I apologize to use the buzzword of like institutional knowledge. That there's just sort of this person left or this changed or we did that a while ago, but now I don't know how to do all that. And so we see a lot of activity around sort of in broad terms around this institutional knowledge space. And what I would encourage your listeners to think about and things that we have conversations with is there's three different types of knowledge, as crazy as this is going to sound, and I'll give quick examples for each of them. There is the very explicit knowledge, which tends to look like data. What do you know? How is it organized? Where do people get it? How can they all get to it? This is just very explicit pieces of information. And most organizations don't have it well organized and don't even understand what is actually truth and what is the source of truth within their organizations. A second would be implicit. And so that's how we apply that. There's all sorts of process maps or and operational sort of steps and checklists and things like this that we take. And many organizations don't have that documented. So we understand what the data is, but like we didn't know Jim used to do it one way and Sue does it another way, and we don't have that all kind of reconciled. And we certainly, if they leave, we don't know what to do next. And so this sort of cataloging of this implicit knowledge space, which is sort of the steps that we take to apply a lot of the explicit knowledge that might be out there. And then the last is tacit knowledge, which is just judgment. And what are we doing to create case studies? What are we doing in our training? What are we doing to pull leaders together so that they're like-minded? An ability that they can exercise judgment within the organization that is consistent with its past set of judgment as well. And some organizations are afflicted in all three of those areas. Sometimes one is more important than the other. But we see in sort of this period where there's a lot of change that we're losing knowledge. Things are changing, people are changing, and we don't have a good sense of or just organizing across those three different levels and starting to create plans that would say, hey, we need to preserve this knowledge within the organization because it's truly actually an asset that we have that we need to be able to protect to sustain our future.
That is clearly a super important thing. So, David, if someone wanted to reach out to you and to find out more about you and your team and perhaps engage your services, what's the best way to do that? How can they best find you?
Yeah, wonderful. Both through our website and LinkedIn. So the website would be themindsalt.com. I'm happy to reach out. You can actually set up a meeting straight from the website as well. Or LinkedIn, just find my name, David Deaton, with the organization, The Mind Salt. We have a company page, I have my personal page, and respond to messages and really look forward to people making that connection and reaching out.
Fantastic. Thank you.